Hi, Randy.
How are you today?
Oh, I'm all right, thank you. Yes.
Oh, good,
Busy as
good.
ever.
I'm pleased to hear it. You wouldn't believe that we're up to Christ the King already, would you?
I know. Where is the year going? Oh my
I
days.
know.
Well, it's the very end of the church's year, of course, isn't it?
It
Christ the
is.
King.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we end appropriately with the crucifixion.
Yes, yes. And I always think it is quite good to look at passages like this one outside of their usual place, in that we're not looking at it on Good Friday or round about
Yeah.
Easter time. We're actually sort of
Yeah.
looking at it at a different point. We can maybe pull more out of it than we can
Yeah.
at the seasonal times of the year.
I think it helps just reinforce the point that the crucifixion, the resurrection is the key part. It's what everything has been leading up to this moment is about. I mean, and hence the Old Testament references that are scattered through the reading, just showing how everything leads to this point. This is the fundamental point of our whole Christian faith, all that
Mm,
we believe.
absolutely. And I was explaining to somebody in Bible study, the cross might have happened at a particular moment in history, but the shadow of it goes both ways. So people like Abraham, they believe, they believed God, and God credited to him as righteousness, but they're saved still through the same cross as we are,
Yeah,
because the shadow
yeah, yeah,
goes
yeah, yeah.
backwards and forwards. That's how significant the cross is.
Yeah, but not losing sight of the point that this is one historical fact, one historical occasion. It is not repeated time and time again. It was one off, once for all time.
One actual event in history.
That's right.
And there's so much in here, isn't there? We could talk about a lot, but let's try. Should we try and narrow it down as much as we can, so that we
Yeah,
don't talk all day? Because I'm sure we could talk all day about the cross. Should I tell you
yeah.
what struck me new as I read this, which I'm not
Hmm.
sure I'd necessarily really thought about before, was at the crucifixion, the fact that Jesus died in the middle of two sinners.
Yeah.
Yeah, that complete identification with sinful humanity. There he is in the midst of sinners, dying the sinner's death on the sinner's behalf.
And while you're on that point, I mean, this is maybe taking it slightly away, but um, the fact that it's between the two criminals, the two sinners, and their totally different responses. And, you hear some people say, oh, well, I'll think about Jesus. I'll come to Jesus when I'm at a time of deep crisis. But here we have two criminals at a time of deep crisis. And one totally rejects God, rejects Jesus, and one comes towards him. So simply saying, oh, I'll think about Jesus when I'm at this point of crisis. Well, that's not enough,
Mm.
because we don't know how we're going to respond to Jesus at that time of crisis. The two criminals, the two sinners, shows us that one is drawn away from Jesus, one is drawn to Jesus.
I wouldn't say he's drawn away, but I'd say he's stuck in his sinful humanity, isn't he? Because he's stuck in that me, save yourself, but save me type thing. But let's move on to that in a minute, because the first thing I was wanting to say is what it tells us about Jesus, because we come on to the responses, and there's lots of different responses in this text to Jesus. And
Mm,
of course, the other the other criminal is almost a model in what it means to be a Christian, or how just salvation by grace. But the fact that this is Jesus's last sort of human act, isn't it? His humanity there, but also his representativeness as he stands there in the midst of sinners. So I think that's really
yeah.
key that we've got. And obviously you can't fail to be struck by the humanity of Christ in this. I mean, Luke is so brief, isn't he, about the crucifixion? They
It's quite
crucified him.
factual, isn't it? It's just fact,
Mm.
fact, fact. There's nothing, no, nothing else added in there.
No, but people would have known what that meant. People would have
Mm,
known the sort of humiliation that came with being crucified, the pain and the gore and the agony. They would have known all of that because crucifixions were sadly commonplace, weren't they, in the Roman world?
that's right.
So, but it really, yeah, in the midst of that, what Jesus says,
Yeah,
Father, forgive them, for they
he
do not know what they are doing.
he prays for the soldiers.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, such compassion. And you think
Yeah,
how much pain he was in,
yeah,
how much
yeah,
agony.
yeah, yeah. And how that just shows at that moment how destitute Jesus is. That they cast lots for his clothing. All his suppose his dignity has been taken away, and soldiers just casting lots. Again, an Old Testament reference there. Um, but just that destituteness of Jesus at that point
Mm. Well, there's
is
lots of points of Old Testament that prophesy all of this. You know, you
yeah,
can tie it all up. Lots of stuff in Isaiah, isn't there? Mainly, but other places too. The Psalms.
yeah,
You love your
yeah.
Psalms. Lots of
I do.
Psalms pointed to this.
A lot. Yeah. There's yeah, a few more references from the Psalms in here.
Absolutely. But just that, so just shows you though who Jesus is there. As well as being God, the humanness of Jesus, yet the great compassion of Jesus, even for
Yeah,
those who are crucifying him and who are putting him through all that pain.
yeah,
And it just blows you away. And also, well, that's the example to set for us, isn't it? For our enemies,
yeah,
love your enemies, he said,
yeah,
and there he is. Pray for those, praise for those who persecute you. There he is doing
yeah.
it. Mm. But then you get the responses, don't you?
You do, don't you? Yeah. And here's an interesting one. Verse 35, at least in the NIV, the people stood watching. Leon Morris, he asked the question, are the people actually being respectful at that point? That they're not the ones doing the mocking. They're just watching. It's the rulers, the soldiers, the criminal who are doing the mocking. The people, then, are actually being respectful.
But are they being respectful? Because you can be watching without being respectful. Maybe they're not outwardly sneering, but is there not an indifference in there? Because it
Maybe there
doesn't
is,
say that they're grieving. It's not like the women weeping, is it? It's they're just kind of watching like you do at a spectacle.
but
You're
they
going out and having a bit of a watch. I think it shows indifference.
but they're not joining in with the mockery,
They're not,
which it would have been very tempting to.
well, maybe, but then maybe it's just that maybe they're like just like meh.
Maybe, maybe they
They,
don't
they
care.
don't
They've
they
seen
don't
them so often.
Yeah, exactly. They're just watching the latest crucifixions. Oh, wasn't that Jesus? Oh yeah. Oh, You're just watching. I think it's indifference more than respect because I don't think that anything else in this passage, apart from the one of the two criminals who came to Jesus, and the rest, it's all quite negative, isn't it? Apart from the somewhat um unexpected truth that there's two, isn't there? There's a recognition. So you've got the people watching, you've got the rulers sneering, but look at their words. He saved others.
Hmm.
They recognise what Jesus has done, haven't they?
Yeah,
They know that he saved people.
and if he was an earthly king, he would be saving himself first because that's what kings do. They
Yes, they do.
always save themselves. So if you're an earthly king, you're going to save yourself.
But they're recognising that he saved others, which is an admission of the
Yeah,
miracles that Jesus has been doing. So they believe that the miracles happened and
yeah,
they still aren't moved by them. And I think that's really important for us to remember because we do sometimes think, oh, if Jesus was doing all of this now, then my family and my friends and the people in my town would all come flocking to Jesus. Well, not necessarily,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
these rulers knew what Jesus had done and they still didn't follow him.
And there's also an irony here as well, because if Jesus had saved himself, he wouldn't have been able to save you and me.
Absolutely. That's why
You
he
know?
stayed there, isn't it? Because he could have
Yeah,
got down off the cross,
yeah.
but he
He can't
stayed there for us.
he can't save himself if he's going to save sinners.
No,
You know?
no, that's why he stayed. Then
Yeah,
you've got the mocking. Soldiers are mocking him.
yeah, yeah.
But it's the go on.
No, no, it's okay. Carry on.
I was say it's the notice by Pilate that
Yeah,
is really cool, isn't it? This
yeah,
is the King of the Jews, and he is.
yeah, yeah. Pilate acknowledged it.
Yeah, and Douglas Mill. Wait, little quote from Douglas Mill here. In God's overriding providence, Pilate's inscription told the truth about Jesus to the whole inhabited world because it was written in the major languages of the empire.
Mm, yeah.
I think,
Mm.
I think it was probably inadvertent, maybe. Did he believe it? Did he just write it because he was just messing with them? We
Who
don't know.
knows? Who
We
knows?
we don't know, but what we do know is advertently or inadvertently, he put the truth out there for all to see.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, Christ the
yeah.
King Sunday. That's a wonderful truth to have right there in the middle of the passage.
And so the soldiers obviously can see it and quote it if you are given to use, like any other king, save yourself. But we've already said you can't save yourself if you're going to save others.
No. And then you've got the two criminals that we talked about at the start, and they're completely contrasting approaches to what's gone on.
The other thing I like about the second criminal is again he's an outsider. A criminal is one of God's chosen people. You don't expect that, do you? Mm.
No, no. But all the sort of good people, in inverted commas, the important people, rejected him.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but got a great quote from J.C. Ryle because
I thought
J.C.
you might.
Ryle, I know. Well, I probably could have about five quotes from J.C. Ryle, but this one uses the criminal and sort of gives sort of 6 steps to being saved, or six
Uh-huh.
steps to show that you sort of that you have come to Jesus. He sort of marks it out as six. And I find that's just quite an interesting. We like steps, don't we? Or we like, mark, 5 marks a mission, or
Uh-huh.
whatever it is, steps to do things. This is what he says. The first notable step in the thief's repentance was his concern about his companion's wickedness in reviling Christ. Dost thou not fear God? He said, seeing thou art in the same condemnation. The second step was a full acknowledgement of his own sin. We indeed are justly in condemnation. We receive the due reward of our deeds. The third step was an open confession of Christ's innocence. This man hath done nothing amiss. The fourth step was faith in Jesus Christ's power and will to save him. He turned to a crucified sufferer and called him Lord, and declared his belief that he had a kingdom. The fifth step was prayer. He cried to Jesus when he was hanging on the cross and
Mm.
asked him even then to think upon his soul. The sixth and last step was humility. He begged to be remembered by our Lord. He mentions no great thing, enough for him if he is remembered by Christ. These 6 points should always be remembered in connection with the penitent thief. His time was very short for giving proof of his conversion, but it was time well used. Few dying people have ever left behind them such good evidences as were left by this man. True, isn't
Yeah,
it?
true, very true.
And to realise that. But it's a bit like we are talking about Zacchaeus the other week, weren't we? And Zacchaeus, it
Yeah,
happened in an instant. It's like love at first sight, bam. there we are. His life is changed forever. He's repented, his life has changed. And that's exactly with this repentant thief. He may
Yeah,
well have been in the crowd and seen Jesus's miracles. He may well have, maybe after his crime, realised who Jesus was. But it's at that point when it all comes together, isn't it?
yeah. Today you will be with me in paradise. What a wonderful
Mm.
statement.
Oh, such
Today,
hope.
yeah, it's certain, truly, I tell you, certainty. Today is going to be immediate, and then you will be with me in paradise. That's heaven. Being with Jesus for eternity. That's
Yeah.
all the struggles of this life go, and you're with Jesus forever. And what struck me is that sometimes, you hear preachers and they major on the in paradise bit. Whereas actually, I wonder whether the emphasis needs to be on with me. You're going to be with me. That's where we put
Mm.
our emphasis when we preach that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, being with Jesus is paradise, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think we mentioned this in an earlier video. It's also assurance of what happens immediately when we die, because we know that Jesus is going to return and bring the new heaven and the new earth, and everything will be gathered up into fulfillment, and that new future. And there's this time lag between now and then,
Yeah.
you know, and it gets to the point when the dead will be raised and all the rest of it. But
Yeah.
that's not yet. So it answers the question of what happens to us straight away. And
Yeah.
actually, straight away, I think it's when we were talking about the rich man and Lazarus, wasn't it? But straight away, we're with Jesus. Today, you'll be with me in paradise. Not, don't
Yeah.
worry, when I come back, I'll wake you up and we'll be together. No, it's today. Today,
Yeah.
you're going to be with me.
Immediately.
Yeah, you'll shut
And
your eyes at the end of all this agony and you'll wake up with me.
yeah. And truly, it's certainty. You can be assured of that. You're
Mm,
going to be with me.
absolutely sure.
Yeah.
I know that is so much because, do you know, I'm not sure even how many Christians actually believe that,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
always get all fingers crossed. I go to heaven, fingers crossed. It's
Yeah.
not fingers crossed, is it? It's Jesus has promised. If we put our
Yeah.
trust in him, because he's
Yeah.
died in our place as a sinner. He's taken
Yeah.
God's punishment.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
died. He came back to life. He'll bring us with him.
Yeah.
We've got a future with him. That's
Yeah.
that's why the great missionaries which were going about in J.C. Ryle's time were able to go to Africa and places knowing that they would die, probably,
Hmm.
statistically speaking. They'd get some hideous illness and die, or they'd be eaten, or whatever. Um,
Yes.
well, they still went
Yeah.
because they knew that the future was better than here. And if they could tell people about Jesus now, they'd be getting a future for them as well.
Yeah.
Because they believed it, really believed it.
Yeah. God. God is our refuge and strength. The beginning of the appointed song.
Absolutely.
The
It's just one little
fortress.
JC Ryle. Well, actually, I don't
Go
even know
on.
if it's him. He puts this in inverted commas, but he doesn't reference it. So I don't know if it's him or if it's from somewhere else. Somebody might know where this is from. But he quotes this: "One thief was saved that no sinner might despair, but only one that no sinner might presume." So just to get things in the balance, we can't
Yeah.
presume on salvation in the sense of in our own strength. We have to
Yeah.
trust in the promises of God. No
Yeah.
sinner despairs because we can trust those promises. But none of us
Yeah.
can go, yeah, I'm all right. I'm good enough to go into God's heaven. That's presumption, isn't it? It's not presumption to stand on Jesus's promises.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
So
Well,
looking forward to
enjoy.
preaching this.
Excellent. You enjoy it. Good.
Are you preaching on this Sunday?
Where am I? I am actually. Yes, I am.
Very good.
I think I'm in real.
Oh, the good people of Rill will have a super treat, won't they?
I hope so. I hope so. But did you know the psalm that they've put with this reading? psalm for Sunday, Psalm 46, was Martin Luther's favourite psalm.
Uh,
And it was the psalm John Wesley sang on his deathbed.
oh, really?
There you go. There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Couple of useless bits of information for you.
Was also the psalm Melanie Prince read in 2025 at the War Memorial in Lampeter to kill time between standing there and starting the service.
Martin Luther, John Wesley, and Melanie Prince. There you go. You're in the company of saints, Melanie.
Yeah. Well, we will be. And isn't that the joy of it all?
Yeah.
Well,
Have a good
nice to
time.
chat. See you
And you.
soon.
Bye bye.